This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
on the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk in the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us on this Thursday, July the 17th, 2025. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the terrestrial radio. Also, we're streaming live on the internet at cklu.ca. Click on the Radio Player Canada app. You can stream us, download it, and you can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. We're also coming at you live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Follow the channel and the page. We'll also be found on those two platforms immediately following the show, along with x.com/Sudbury News and on our Sudbury News website, which is a news aggregator where we aggregate all the local news organizations' stories into one webpage. It's pretty fantastic, and we do it free of charge for the community as a service due to our government policy, making it impossible for people in Canada to share news on the world's largest social media platform, Facebook, also Instagram. And so it makes us feel a little bit more out of touch with news, as we used to consume a lot of our news on Facebook, but it wasn't just Facebook news. It was the actual news from actual news organizations where they shared their articles, and you could see them and read them and go, wow, I really think all my friends need to read this too. And you just hit share and it goes to your page and everyone can see it. And it's like, wow, it's a way to share news. Well, I guess my opinion, which this is what this show is about, it's news and views. And my opinion is the government really didn't like that because, they don't really like transparency, accountability, those types of things. And so let's drum up a narrative that makes it sound like we're actually for the people and for the news organizations. Let's just say we're going to try and get Facebook to pay these news organizations for their news, which they weren't complaining one bit for that. They weren't saying we want Facebook to pay us. The government said we want Facebook to pay you, and we're going to make it impossible for anyone to use it unless they pay you for your news that you're putting on Facebook. And they're like, no, we're actually happy. We're actually happy to share it to millions and millions of people. And if they click on it, it goes to our website. We get revenue anyways, so we're happy with that. No, you're not happy with that. We want you to be paid more. And so they legislated that Facebook has to pay millions of dollars in order for news organizations to share their news. And thus we cannot have any news on our Facebook feeds from anywhere in the world. And we're kind of in a black hole. We're the only country in the world, by the way, that has Facebook that's not able to share news on it. Just so you know, just in case you weren't informed. Well, you wouldn't be informed because you wouldn't get that article on Facebook shared with you, right? So these are the beginnings of the new world that we're entering into. One of the signs, I guess you can say, of what we'll be experiencing going forward. So with that, make sure to comment. We'll get your comments up on the screen, read for those watching, read for those listening, put up on the screen for those watching. And with that, I just want to let everyone know that the views expressed on this show, which I do express many views on the news, are that of myself and that of yourselves, whoever are commenting, and any of our guests. Like yesterday, we had Tom Price and Bob Johnston on, and they were sharing their views. and insights on research that they do each and every day with us here. And they are their views and it's their research and do not necessarily reflect that of Laurentian University's faculty or staff or anybody who's involved with Laurentian University or CKLU, volunteers, staff, or board members. They are that of my own commenters and guests, and we take full responsibility for the views that we share on the show. And they are views, they are opinions on the news that's given, whether it's locally, regionally, nationally, or internationally. We have to go out and find the news, right? It's not like it's easily accessible on Facebook because it's not allowed on Facebook. News is not allowed on Facebook in Canada. So just say that, a few times. News is not allowed on Facebook in Canada. That is interesting, right? Even if you have an opinion of why, that Facebook should be paying you. Where did you get that idea from? That Facebook should be paying the news organizations? Well, the government said that. That's where you got that idea from. Ask the news organizations what they would prefer. They'd prefer to be able to just share their news on Facebook. Because many of them, including Village Media, who owns Sudbury.com, tried to make their own Facebook. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, we'll see how that goes. And it's not going very well. You can't make your own Facebook once it's already kind of out there. It's like go out and try and start your own oil company right now or your own insurance company from scratch. Good luck with that. With already established industries, the big players make it impossible for anyone to get in the game, right? So it ain't going to work. So with that, let's just dive into the show today. We'll start off with a little bit of weather. We got a really interesting report from the city of Sudbury itself. Gives itself a failing grade on its homelessness situation. And I thought that was interesting. It's too bad we didn't have that article yesterday talking with Bob on the show. So out of 7 categories, they only said one of them were positive. So we'll get into that and other news stories locally, and then we'll do our deep dive, as usual, into Canada, the state of Canada. What is Canada? Who are we as Canadians? Are we as simple as elbows up? This recent, campaign slogan that got Mark Carney elected. A lot of people just bought into that, and I think if they actually thought about what just happened and who's in charge of the country and what's going on, and they actually looked into it and actually, understood what's really happening, probably having voters regret, I would think. And if you're not, well, you just got your head so far in the sand that all you could hear was elbows up with your head in the sand, and that's all you're going to hear. Because it's anything but elbows up these days. So with that, let's just dive in with some weather. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. And Sudbury weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Current conditions for this Thursday, July the 17th, is 12 degrees with some rain. Temperatures today will be only a high of 16, so it's going to be cooler today. There's going to be showers, risk of thunderstorm this morning. Local amount of 15 to 25 millimeters on top of what we already had. Winds gusting to 50 kilometers per hour. Tonight it'll be clear though. The wind will be gusting to 40 kilometers per hour. Low of 10, so a little cooler tonight. Friday, sunny, then with increasing cloudiness in the afternoon. High of 22. And overnight, tomorrow night, it'll be a low of 13. So still a little bit cool. And then Saturday, 40% chance of showers, a high of 19. Sunny on Sunday with a high of 24. Monday, 27 with a mix of sun and cloud. No risk there. Tuesday, 40% chance of showers, high of 25. 27 is your high on Wednesday with a 40% chance of showers. So few, chances of showers throughout the next 6 days or so. But today will be the most forecast in terms of the 25 millimeters of rain we could expect up to. All right, that's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Back with your news, headlines, comments, and more right after this. Well, how about we do that again? Alrighty then. So a little glitch on my clicker switcher. It happens from time to time, but glad that all y'all are with us. We got a few of you on this morning, and like to welcome Nana on YouTube here. Good morning and blessings, everyone. Heart emoji. And then Judy on Facebook. Good morning to you. Marianne, good morning. Everyone from Barrie liked and shared as usual. And Belinda, a positive statement of the day. When people get used to preferential treatment, equal treatment feels like discrimination. This is what we are witnessing today. Well, I never really heard it that way before. When people are used to preferential treatment, when they get the equal treatment, it feels like discrimination. Interesting. Some people, what is that? Entitlement. When people feel entitled, when they get treated extra special all the time, they're used to that. And, when just someone treats them normally, they feel like, hey, wait a minute here. I'm used to this extra treatment kind of thing. Okay, well, thanks for that, Belinda. Much appreciated. Hazel, good morning. Prayer emoji. Much needed. Very appreciated. And Vin, morning to you. Marianne says, the word of the day is unity. The government is afraid of people coming together more of us than them, for sure. I think it's always been that case, right? Whether you had aristocracy, you had royalty, you had whatever, you had different forms of governments. Any kind of government, they're always afraid of the numbers of the people and how to control people. Governments throughout history, that's been their thing, right? How do you control the masses? On one side, it's positive because you do need order. You can't just have everyday mayhem and anarchy, although some people are anarchists for whatever reasons. You just can't have, a thriving society when there's just disorder all the time. So you need some kind of order. I think most people agree with that. And in order to have order, sometimes, because we see how people think. People are interesting, right? Like they can think all kinds of stuff. You can show them the truth until you're blue in the face, and some people will just deny it outright right in your face, like it's so evident. They just can't see it. So, and some people, they catch on easy, and just people are all from all different sides of the of whatever spectrum humans can be on. And so in order to maintain some type of order for the masses, you can't always tell 100% of the truth because not everyone can handle, just like Jack Nicholson said in A Few Good Men, not all people can handle the truth. And so you have to give them some kind of a truth to maintain order in a society. And so it's a combination of truth and lies, but it's woven together to give people some kind of sense that that there's an order out there that they can buy into and live together with, as a society. And there needs to be leaders of that. And so the leaders are whoever are able to get to the top somehow of this manufactured kind of reality that we live in and navigate it and maybe even influence it, maybe even change it to some degree. But as long as it kind of continues to have some kind of order that people buy into, the kingdom or the country or the powers that be can continue to be in power. And so all that to say, Marianne says that the people in power are usually concerned with the amount of people, because if the people get together and have a different idea of what reality is, and the governments and the powers that be aren't the ones managing that type of society that the masses agree with, then they will get rid of the people that are in those seats and in power. And a new form of government will then be installed until the people rise up again and mostly believe something different than the new people in power. And the cycle continues. Now, if you are a student of prophecy or philosophy, and you understand that, or just politics in general and news, and you see we're heading into a new era where they've announced it and we're coming into it now. Mark Carney just acknowledged the other day that we're no more holding on to the nostalgia of the past. It's a new world we're forging right now. And so the architects have been planning and have been setting up a new world order for many years now. And that's what we're about to see in real time and pretty fast and hard, with a one world government, one world currency, and heck, why not throw in a one world religion, right? And there's many things that point to that, not just biblical prophecy or other people who were inspired, who saw the future, and people like George Orwell or Huxley, people who wrote books talking about this particular world that we're entering into now. It's inevitable as the world becomes one in terms of our technology, and we're able to be one. Like, you look at even language now, right? So you have your Google Translate, things like that. Language isn't a problem anymore. And so you can communicate with all different cultures, all different languages. We're already with the world this, the world that, the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, the UN, all these world global organizations. The world has been becoming one for a long time. And now it's going to come to fruition where we actually become one with the one world currency, the digital currency too. Cash will be out. It'll be a social credit score where money is just turned into ones and zeros. And let's say you get like happens in China right now, you get a speeding ticket with the cameras. Well, it just comes right out of your bank account. You don't even wait a couple months to get a bill in the mail and you have to pay it. You go buy that camera, you're speeding. It costs 90 points instead of $90 because we're on a point system now, digital currency. 90 points come out of your bank account instantaneously, and you don't have any say about it. And so we are going to be forced to live laws as we become more of a totalitarian, communist, fascist, where large corporations, tech giants, large corporations, governments all become one with their businesses, their governance, their military and police power all come together to enforce the rules, to force the rules upon you and make you do good, really. Make you do good things by keeping their laws. And so there's no more free agency. There's no more agency to decide whether you want to do good or evil. The powers that be will force you to comply to whatever it is they say you need to do. And many people applaud that type of world. They're like, yes, finally, we'll have, so what? We got a few bad apples that are in charge of us. At least everyone will be made to do the same things. I can't handle people that have the ability to choose. And they make wrong choices, for crying out loud. And those wrong choices affect other people. So if we can eliminate choices, bad choices, and just force everybody to live laws all the time, then that's the kind of world that a lot of people feel that's a better kind of world. Until it comes and they realize what it turns into and how it ends up. But then it's too late and it is what it is. So it has to play out. It has to. Unfortunately, it's you can do things on your own to maintain your own identity and your own individualism in that, but as a whole, it's heading that way. It's an avalanche. Can you stop an avalanche if you tried? Even a million people, could they stop an avalanche? Right? It's already been set in motion. And but there is hope in all of that, by the way, again, and we'll talk more about that hope as the time continues on the show as much as we possibly can. So Belinda says the history of suppression of truths is coming to an end. Thank to everyone who is fighting to expose the lies. Again, right? This is the hope we have, and this is all we do, and I will do this till as long as I could possibly do it, and try to, the term is wake people up, right? Wake people up. But unfortunately, you only need a certain percentage of the population that will not or refuses to be woken up. And we saw that over the last 5 years, right? You only need a certain percentage of the population to go along with the plans or go along with things. And good morning to you, Marvin. Thanks for joining us all the way from Alberta. And Vin says the states had a problem with backdoor access to TikTok. Canada has access to Facebook backdoor, but had no control over the controlled narrative. Heaven forbid society call out the corruption in Parliament. Yeah, no, society has to do that, right? But if the majority doesn't realize it, then there's nothing you can do about it. 1,000,000%. And good morning. Let's see, everybody. Pierrette, good morning to you. What's new? Well, we're talking about what's new for sure every day. And Estelle, good morning to you. Heart emoji. Vin says Trudeau, loopholes to chartered rights didn't stop there. Again, right? So we witnessed a lot of things over the last 5 years. What did we learn from what we saw? Sheila, good morning from Quebec. Sunshine emoji there. And I forget whose handle this particular person is. But good morning to you, MC. I'll call you for now. The 51st state, Canada, only way out of this pucking mess, period. Okay, so here's an advocate for becoming the 51st state. And again, I'm more in line with the way the United States is set up for their governance than Canada is myself. It's more based on the individual, based on freedom, based on God-given rights than our more socialistic, bordering on communistic version here in Canada, and getting ever so more every day. Northern Hillbilly, good morning to you. And Marianne says elbows up and elbows up is an illegal move in hockey. Enough said, and that is true as well. Brian, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. And Pierrette says, well, we went from MDA Innovators building the Canadian arm to Spar Aerospace Initiatives to communism. There you go. And agreed, Hazel agrees. And MC says Clown Carney has most of his personal investments. They're in the USA. Basically, none in Canada. That tells you something, right? And Claudia, good morning to you. Claude, good morning to you. Much appreciated. Thanks for being on. My eyes this morning, I have to apologize. So I'm surprised I'm even reading as good as I am, for sure. So Liette, good morning, everyone from Collingwood. That's a heart emoji there. Sheila says our Prime Minister is an economist, not a politician. Enough said. He's fumbling negotiations. He does destruction or takeovers in his world. Financially, right? And Mike, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. Good morning, all. Andrew, good morning to you as well. And he doesn't have Canadians' best interest at hand, for sure, Marianne. And Vin says DEI is still, is it DIE in Canada? But DEI is still discrimination and segmentation. I would agree, 1,000,000%. Starvation in the road. Clown Carney is taking Canadians. Oh yeah, I'll have a little bit on that right now. Why not? Why not have a little bit on that since we're on that subject? I just got to find it here. And it's just something I noticed a while back, and I just wanted to shed some light on it. I just need to find it. And it's from me here. Yeah, right? So remember this, Carney's wife, when she was giving, her speech at his victory speech or whatever, and she actually said she wanted to introduce Carney, who's going to make Canada great. And then she says, and Canada poor. And I was just like, what? She said that out loud? And many people will say, well, no, that's not what she's saying. But the same people who say, no, that's not what she's saying, can't really say what she actually said.
Service. So here we are. As his partner, I could not be more proud of him. And as a Canadian, I'm so thankful that the man I met more than 30 years ago has held tight to that strong commitment to service. I'm lucky to have him. We're lucky to have him now more than ever. Without further ado, it's my great pleasure to introduce my husband, the Prime Minister who will make Canada strong and Canada full. I want you to know I'm committed to move back to Canada and to work in the public service. So here we are. As his partner, I could not be more proud of him. And as a Canadian, I'm so thankful that the man I met more than 30 years ago has held tight to that strong commitment to service. I'm lucky to have him. We're lucky to have him now more than ever. Without further ado, it's my great pleasure to introduce my husband, the Prime Minister who will make Canada strong and Canada full.
Yeah, who make Canada strong and Canada poor. I believe that's exactly what she said. And I believe that's exactly what he's going to do and has been doing behind the scenes as Justin Trudeau's puppet master. As the former governor of the Bank of Canada, started it way back when. Like everything people believe about Mark Carney, if it's in a positive light, is totally opposite. He's here to take down Canada and make Canada bankrupt. And here's his wife saying, introduce Canada, is going to make Canada, as you say, Canada strong and Canada poor. So how can you be Canada strong and Canada poor at the same time? To me, isn't that an oxymoron? Does that even, can you be strong and poor? I have no idea. maybe if you're Jesus, it's the poor, the meek in spirit that have the kingdom of God. But that's the only time I've ever heard that be strong in terms of money or economic force or military might or anything to do with countries. You can't be poor and strong as far as I know. Just bizarre. Anyways, I thought, okay, now that we're talking about it, I had it queued up. I might as well play it. And it's just craziness. And people are very, waking up to Mark Carney's conflicts of interest now that it's been revealed what was in his blind trust. And he has investments in 103 conflicts of interest. So as Prime Minister, when he goes to negotiate anything for Canada, he has to excuse himself from any of the negotiations, any of the discussions, because he has a conflict of interest. If he makes a policy in any way, shape, or form, it's going to affect the outcome of whether one of these companies that he's invested in would benefit, and then he himself financially benefits. And it's just wrong. It just, even if you're a liberal, you have to say that's wrong. It's a conflict of interest is a conflict of interest, whether or not your guy has a conflict of interest or the guy you didn't want to be in has a conflict of interest. The principle is the same. So what I find is from a lot of liberals is they don't mind if their guy breaks the law. They don't mind. It's okay. It's fine because what would you want? The alternative? Would you want some guy you don't want in there to keep the law? Because it's, he'd be a little bit like Donald Trump is what we're told. And we can't have that. I'd rather have a guy who breaks the law. And he's my guy. A guy who I think is got my best interest in hand, whether or not I look into facts or not, right? So it's just, I find that's a real thing with a lot of people out there as I talk to regular people. So here's an example of a regular guy just giving this type of opinion.
Lowest IQ population, lowest IQ country on this planet. Elbows up. That's right. You're going to be going elbows up in 4 years when you're getting mugged by more third world immigrants. You deserve the poverty that you have just voted in for the next 4 years. This country is full of people that are sheep that do not use their brain. If the CBC told you tomorrow that the grass is blue and the sky is green, you would agree with it and you would tell your friends and you would post about it.
There you go, right? So this guy, I think he swears in there. So I just stopped it ahead of that. Again, it's a morning program. People are driving to work. It's just whatever. I think he just makes another point, but he puts an exclamation on it with some colorful language. But anyways, goes to show you, and I'm sure a lot of other people are feeling the same thing these days. And good morning, Denise. Thanks for being on. Hello, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe and healthy. Like and share, much appreciated. And Gary, good morning to you as well. I just want to welcome, as we see new people coming on the show, as I see them. And let's look into some of the more local stories that we got happening here. Have another one. Oh, yeah. So this is this one. Going to see it in the browser. We'll get to that in 1 second. So Sudbury Star in their newsletter yesterday. If you haven't signed up for the Sudbury Star newsletter yet, you'll need to because it's just very informative. The town of Nairn, this was in their newsletter yesterday. They're still trying to get the radioactive material into the town of Nairn. They are not fans of that. It's coming from an area in North Bay and they want to have it in the town of Nairn, in the old mine, the old uranium mine. But the people in Nairn are worried that it will leach into their water source. It's the water, basically, that most of the town gets their water from. But the province says, don't worry, this is naturally occurring rock. It's there's little chance it will leach into your water. That's what they said. So what would you do if the province came to you and said, we want to put radioactive material in your township or near your source of drinking water, and there's little chance that it will leach into your water system, right? If they would have said no chance, Well, that's a whole other thing, right? But they said little chance. So just that alone, to me, is enough for me to not want that to happen in my community. Now, here's an interesting story just came out today on Sudbury Star's newsletter. Greater Sudbury gives itself a failing grade on ending homelessness. So, a couple things there I just thought were interesting in the first place. They're giving themselves a failing grade, which I think is good if you're seeing the things that you're doing, at least in admitting that you're not doing the best job in a certain area. I commend that. Amid increasing pressures and stressors that are pushing against our social seams, the city says it continues to work to address homelessness. During Tuesday's council meeting, staff presented to councillors a report card comparing 2023 and 24 stats and detailed 7 areas of evaluation. In 6 of the 7 areas, the city received a failing grade. The only options were a yes or no outcome, so hard to have anything in between there. And the only area where the city did well was the addition of people to the by name list. You know, the list they're trying to get of all the people in the city who are experiencing homelessness. And so there was 301 individuals who were added in 2024. And the positive thing is there was only 292 people added the following year. So in 2023, there was 301 people added. In 2024, there were 292 people. So we had 9 less people join the list in 1 year. So that was the only positive outcome that the city had out of all of their 7 areas that they were looking at in terms of how they were handling the homelessness. As you know, Mike Parent put forward, an initiative to get rid of homelessness in Sudbury by the year 2030. It just happened to be that year, 2030, that he put forward a motion, something that he came up with, that he wants homelessness to be abolished in Sudbury by the year 2030. And so far, it looks like the city is getting a failing grade on all of the key indicating points, other than we had 9 less people join the list this last year as opposed to the previous year. Now, that could be for many reasons. Maybe we just didn't find enough people to ask them to be on the list, or 9 less people just refused to add their name on the list. So that's not really a positive indicator in my books, because it's not an absolute thing. It doesn't really say much. It doesn't tell us anything, really. So let's see what some of these other indicators are that we failed on in the city as we click on the story, as you would too if you had the newsletter. You just click on the full story and you wait for your internet. You wait for your internet to allow the story to load. And if you're live on the radio and on the internet, on a live stream, sometimes it could just take a very, very long time. And you have no idea why it would take so long. And it might even come up as an error that it's not allowing it to even load, right? But then you try it again. You click on it again and you see what happens, and it loads. So, right? So you might experience the same exact thing as I did. Or not. Who knows? Okay, so going through the very heavily advertised page on Sudbury Star's website, many pop-ups, many advertisements. They got to make money somehow, right? It's definitely not coming from Facebook. Okay, so there we go. There's as much as we've read. So being homeless and being precariously housed can be a mean cycle. In 2023, there were 184 move-ins to housing and 78 returns, which means an individual may become housed then move into homelessness. Never heard it termed like that before, moving into homelessness, but there it is. Last year, there were 167 move-ins, but 91 returns to homelessness. Last year, 236 people experienced chronic homelessness. Wow, I didn't know it was like a disease. While only 196 individuals did so in 2023. Finally, 76% of individuals who were housed in 2024 remained housed by the end of 2024, whereas 79% who were housed in 2023 remained so at the end of 2023. The number of people living in encampments also increased in 2024. As of the end of the year in 2023, there were 113 individuals living in encampments across 30 locations. A year later, that number had spiked to 200 individuals in 42 different encampments across the city. So did you know there was 42 different encampments across the city of Sudbury? We're continuing. This is Tyler Campbell. He's the GM of Community Wellbeing. I didn't know there was a GM of Community Wellbeing, but that's interesting to know. How does one obtain a career as being the GM of Community Wellbeing? Well, you could ask Tyler Campbell. He said this: we're continuing to work on a number of initiatives. The roadmap to end homelessness by 2030 was just released in May 2024. So we're continuing to build on some of the momentum, he told the Sudbury Star. Campbell conceded that not all affordable housing in the city is truly affordable. He said there is a need for more deep core affordable housing in the greater city of Sudbury. So we can't just have affordable Sudbury, we need deep core affordable. See, a lot of these terms we're not related to, but in the city they talk like this because they have a language when you live in the Tom Davies Square. Like you have your own language, you understand things differently than everyone else. So we not only need affordable housing, we need deep core affordable housing. Although there are a few bright lights on the horizon. While the term affordable housing is used in nearly every conversation on homelessness, much of that housing is not actually affordable to those at the lower end of the income spectrum. 80% of $1,300, a common price for a one-bedroom apartment in Sudbury, is still $1,040. But there are 3 projects currently underway to help the most vulnerable in our community, which Campbell said qualify us for deep core affordable. A 40-unit transitional housing project on Lorraine Street should open soon. I thought it already did. Says it's supposed to open in July. A 14-unit building on Sparks Street, tailored to seniors over the age of 65, welcomed its first tenants in January. And the Pearl Street Peace Tower project should be complete later this year. It will have 38 affordable units, but not deep core affordable units. So we're still not addressing the problem. Affordable, what's deep core? So what percentage of the rent will the city be covering with this deep core? And Lurleen, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. And Liette. Yeah, I said good morning to you already. Just remember that now. But anyways, it is what it is. Not Betty, though, I don't believe. So I got to get to know what this deep core means. We have just over 80 units of affordable housing that are coming on stream within the next couple of months. That should help a little bit, no? So certainly we're looking to have a huge impact from that regard. They're not at your standard 80% average market rent. All three of those are going to be deep core. So we provide housing supplements to offset the cost. Okay, how much do you provide? There's also Project Manitou, a 17-story tower to be located downtown on Van Horn Street. It'll contain 347 apartments, including 105 affordable seniors units, not deep core, but affordable seniors units. As of now, a complex to be located at the top of Sunrise Ridge Estates subdivision will also include more than 100 affordable units. The three T-shaped towers will contain a combined total of 324 rental units, including 108 affordable units. Campbell said city staff continue to work towards eradicating homelessness. While they received a failing grade last year, he said by next year he hopes to see real improvement. Not a passing grade, but real improvement. As part of the meeting, councillors also approved resolutions that would increase the number of transitional accommodations within the city. The first motion, introduced by Ward 9 Councillor Deb McIntosh, directed staff to work with our Indigenous partners to present a business case excuse me, for the Council's consideration during the 2026-27 budget deliberations, outlining costs and potential funding sources. So we're looking at specific populations, vulnerable populations, one including Indigenous, right, to have their own specific solutions, because there are a huge portion of our homeless are Indigenous, unfortunately, and it's very sad. Now, what does the mayor say about all this? The second motion, introduced by the mayor, directed staff to present a business case during the 2026-27 budget as well, outlining costs and potential funding sources, including any funding opportunities from provincial or federal ministries required to develop a youth transitional housing program with emergency shelter beds. So I guess they're going to be separating people experiencing homelessness into youth, Indigenous. I'm not sure what other ones they're going to be separating people into groups to help them. But I would encourage everyone to continue to read the article, because it goes into depth about all of the considerations the city are making in order to handle our housing crisis, our homelessness crisis, and maybe we'll get to read more about what this deep affordability is, rather than just affordable. And maybe I'll look more into it, have more on it as more becomes apparent. Maybe if they don't explain what that means, other than they're just going to make more subsidies. Well, how much more? Is it fully paid? Is it 90%? Or sorry, is it, you know what I mean? Is it, what's the ratio between what the person contributes and what the city contributes? Deep core means communism. That's Northern Hillbilly. Yeah, I think you're right on that one. Because I'm going to say, eventually it's just a universal income everyone gets. You're provided your housing. You don't get a car because there's not going to be any more cars because they're too dangerous to the environment. But you might get a bike. And you can live in a 15-minute area that you're not allowed to go out of. And everything will be provided for you. And you'll feel safe and protected by those in charge, right? So thanks everyone for joining us today. We really appreciate you. and all of your comments. I'm doing my best to get very many comments from today's show up on the screen as we're kind of signing out. Now, there's not going to be a show tomorrow. I have some family responsibilities I do need to tend to tomorrow, and so we will not be on. So I'm going to wish everyone a wonderful weekend now, and we'll be back same time, same place on the same platforms, God willing, on Monday. And so I hope everybody is able to enjoy your weekend, stay safe, and have a good time. Again, I'm trying to get everyone's comments here up on the screen, and I think we'll be able to do it. So thanks for your comments. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. And remember to stay aware, like, share, take care, and stay safe this weekend. And we'll see you on Monday. Ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.